أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد أشرف المرسلين وعلى صحبه أجمعين ومن اتبع لسنته إلى يوم الدين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته يا أيها الإخوة والأخوات. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I hope you're in a good state of health. I greet you with the greeting of Islam, which is said to say, may the peace and blessings of Allah, glorified, exalted, and majestic is He, be upon you and upon your families. After that, we invoke the peace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon His messenger, Muhammad ibn Abdullah, ibn Abdul Muttalib, ibn Hashim, ibn Abdul Manaf, and upon his family, and upon his companions, and upon all those who follow him until the day of judgment. Now, as to what follows, we continue with our lesson of Mukhtasar al-Akhdari, the abridgement of Imam al-Akhdari with respects to fiqh and acts of worship, specifically on what you could say is morals, purification, and prayer. So right now he is in the chapter, in the section on prayer. In the last lesson, he had told us that it is wajib for the mukallaf, for the legally responsible person, that he or she protects his limbs to the degree that he's able to, meaning that he or she avoids that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made haram for each limb. So for the eyes, it's looking towards certain things that are haram. For the tongue, it's speaking about certain things that are haram. For the ears, it's listening to certain things that are haram. For the stomach, it's hearing, it's consuming that which is haram. For the hands, it's grabbing that which is haram and doing that which is haram with the hands. For the private parts, it's causing them to enter into a place that they're not permitted to enter, meaning to have intercourse before the person is married, or to engage in that which is haram, which is to play with oneself. And then also for the feet to go towards the haram or the halal, to go towards the haram. And he had also said that it's a wajib, it's an obligation that the mukallaf, that they love for the sake of Allah, that they hate for the sake of Allah, that they become pleased for the sake of Allah, and then that they also become displeased for the sake of Allah whenever they see that which is either good or that which is evil. They have the corresponding emotion that emanates from that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with, or that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is displeased with. And that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with is what's known as good actions, what is known as ma'aruf. And that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is displeased with is the munkar, meaning the evil actions and the fawahish, the immoral actions. So on that point he continues today. He says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. He says, وَيَجِبُ عَلَيْهِ يَأْمُرُ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَى عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. That it's an obligation upon the mukallaf that he commands people towards that which is good. Al-ma'ruf, linguistically, it means that which is known, but they use it as a euphemism, as a stand-in word to represent that which is good. It's as though you're saying that goodness is known. You don't have to go far and wide to understand what is good. What is good is the same across all human beings, especially when it relates to moral character. To not cheat, to not steal, to not kill, to not be greedy, to not violate people's honor, their property, and the likes of that. So that's known as the ma'ruf. So it's incumbent upon the mukallaf that he commands people towards good. وَيَنْهَى عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. In that same stream, it's also incumbent upon the mukallaf that he prohibits people from doing evil. That whenever he sees someone doing evil, that he prohibits them from it. The Prophet ﷺ, he gave the example of the people in this world as though they're people that are in a ship. In the ship, you have people on the top deck and you have people on the bottom deck. The people on the bottom deck are obviously closer to the ocean, right? Especially in a time when ships were made out of wood. So the people at the bottom deck, they start taking out planks from the ship because they want to get water. If the people on the top deck don't say anything to them and they say it's none of our business, then what's going to happen is they're going to sink. They're all going to sink. Likewise, in a society doesn't just operate on the basis of, I mind my business and I don't bother anyone. A Muslim should remind his fellow Muslim that this is good and this is evil. The Prophet ﷺ, in a very important hadith, he said, one of you should help your brother when he's being oppressed or when he's oppressing someone, meaning when he's wronging someone or he's being wronged. So his companions, they told him, we understand helping him when he's being oppressed, when someone else is wronging him, but how can we help him when he's wronging someone else? The Messenger also said you can help him by causing him to stop the harm that he's doing from the other person, meaning by telling him to stop the harm that he's doing. That's the way you help him in that situation. So all that ties back to al-amru bil ma'ruf, to commanding the good, wa yanha anil munkar, and to prohibit people from doing that which is evil. You understand? But this has conditions. This has conditions. In order to do that, there are effectively 4 conditions that must exist. The first of them is what's known as al-ikhlas, that a person that is reminding other people has to be sincere. You shouldn't remind a person because you don't like him and you want to expose him. Sometimes people, they use reminders as an excuse to point out a flaw in someone that they dislike. You understand? They don't like this person, so they want to pick at these flaws. Sometimes they command good and prohibit evil because they want to be known for that. They want to be famous. Oh, this is the guy that always gives reminders or speeches. You understand? None of this is good. When you do it, you should do it for the sake of Allah. You should do it because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with good action and He will reward you for that good action. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, none of you will believe until you love for your brother that which you love for yourself. And so if you love faith and good action for yourself, then it's natural that you love it for your brother or sister in Islam, and that you love it for your fellow human being as well. That's the first thing. The second condition before a person can before a person can command the good or prohibit the evil is al-ilm, is knowledge. Is that you have to have knowledge of that which you are commanding people towards and that which you are prohibiting people from. Today, if you say to an alcoholic, what can I do to make you happy? He's going to say, help me by giving me alcohol. Or if you advise the alcohol, I'll tell you whatever makes you happy. And he's going to tell you, tell me about alcohol. Now you've made that person happy and you sincerely tried to make him happy, but you did so without knowledge because now you've told him to go do haram. So you should have knowledge of what it is that you're commanding the person to do, what its status is in the religion. So for example, if it's something that is obligatory, you should know that it's obligatory. If it's something that's merely permissible, then you should remind the person if it has to be done in a manner that is suitable for that action. Right? So you don't beat someone upside the head because he didn't pray the extra prayers after his obligatory prayers, because those extra prayers are not required. So all of that is by knowledge. So after you have sincerity, when you remind people of good and you prohibit them from evil, you should have knowledge as well. The third condition that you should have is as-sabr, is that you should be patient. You have to understand that people, they don't change overnight. You can give someone advice today, and it might not ring in that person's head until 3 or 4 years down the line, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. For some people, it might never ring. But in any situation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has charged you, He's tasked you with reminding people about His mercy and reminding people about His path. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, convey from me, even if it's just one verse. So we have an obligation for our fellow Muslims and our fellow human beings. To the degree that they're able to take it, we give them the information that they need to know when they need to know it. But we also need to have patience over them. We also need to have patience to understand that a person is not going to change all their ways today. You understand? The third is ar-rifq. The fourth is ar-rifq. Rifq is what's known as kindness and gentleness. Understand? Kindness or gentleness. When you remind people, You shouldn't do it in such a way that you're overbearing towards them. You shouldn't do it in such a way that you are breaking their backs. As they say, a gentle wind, a soft breeze, it lets the person know that there's something there. But an extremely overbearing wind, it uproots the person. You understand? It uproots the person. You understand? A gentle wave, a gentle breeze is enough to get the tree moving, but an extremely strong wind is going to uproot the entire tree and it won't grow. It's going to stay flat. So when reminding people, you have to do so with what's known as a rifq. You have to do it with what's known as gentleness and kindness. Because people are not at the same level of understanding, and then people are not at the same level of religiosity at the outset. You understand? But nonetheless, it's our duty to remind them of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's way and the guidance of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Allah, He places in gentleness that which He does not place in anything else. Meaning the beneficial outcomes that He'll place in a gentle approach, even when you have the truth, is far greater than the results that He would place in the truth that you convey, but you do so without any type of gentleness or without any type of kindness. So to review, the Imam once again, he says, وَيَجِبُ عَلَى الْمُكَلَّفِ يَعْمُرُ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, that it's obligatory upon the mukallaf that he commands people towards that which is good in the religion, from the prayer, from the fasting, from good moral character. So basically acts of worship and good moral character. That is what is al-ma'ruf. You understand? Worshipping Allah as He's commanded us to worship Him, and having good moral character between you and other people. And he says, وَيَنْهَى عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, and he should prohibit people from that which is evil, meaning everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited in the Quran, that He's prohibited by virtue of what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us through his statements, and everything that is naturally detestable towards human beings. You understand? That you should prohibit people from that. And then the scholars, they've said, as we've said, that the conditions for a person reminding other people, and this is contextual as well. A person can have knowledge about one thing, and you can remind people about that. You can remind people about Salah. Every Muslim can remind other Muslims about Salah. But it's a different thing to remind someone about, for example, inheritance, because that's a very specialized knowledge. But the conditions, he says, to remind people that a person should possess, first and foremost, is al-ikhlas, is that you have to be sincere. You have to be doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the sincere desire that this person reforms his character, reforms his action, and becomes in accordance with that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with. The second condition is al-ilm, is that you have to have knowledge of what it is that you are commanding people towards and what it is that you are forbidding people towards. If you don't know the ruling about a particular thing in the religion, you don't know whether it's forbidden, whether it's obligatory, whether it's desirable, whether it's disliked, whether it's simply permissible, then it is not for you to speak on that matter. The third condition is that you should have a sabr, is that you should have patience, because you're dealing with human beings. We say oftentimes stubborn like a donkey, like an ass, as they say. But human beings are far more stubborn than a donkey, because a donkey with a stick, it'll go wherever you want. A human being, you could beat a human being, you could do everything to a human being, and he still won't listen to you. So you have to have sabr when you're dealing with people. And the fourth is ar-rifq, is that you should have kindness and gentleness and softness when you're dealing with people, especially in this era, because in today's era, everyone is free to do as he feels. There is no governing body, as there was in the past, that would uphold Islamic laws in today's world, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has willed that it would be. Everyone today is free to follow his or her own conscience to the degree that it aligns with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed for us. So in that case, we have no capacity to force people. Rather, we treat them with kindness and we keep reminding them with knowledge. in a sincere manner, and we be patient until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps them to realize that which is good. So inshallah we'll end it here. Jazakumullah khair. Ya ikhwan, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of you guys good and put barakah in all of your affairs and grant us all khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.